Hello, thanks for tuning in to my channel, Growth Seekers Club. I'm Kirsty, and today I'm going to be talking to you about attachment styles and how they can affect your adult relationships. If you're interested in relationship and personal growth content, be sure to hit that subscribe button for fresh weekly content. Now, let's get into today's video. So today I'm going to be telling you about attachment theory. We're going to look at the 4 attachment styles, how these develop, and how they show up in your adult relationships. I'm also going to answer the question of whether you can change your attachment style. So let's start with the question, what is attachment theory? And to understand attachment theory, we need to go back in time. Back to our birth, actually. If you think about it, we came into this world completely helpless and totally dependent on our caregivers to ensure that we actually survived. And while our physical needs are essential, we also have other needs, emotional and psychological needs that are equally important for our development. For example, we have the needs for love, support, and security. And it's our caregiver's job to meet these needs. And depending on how they do that, it gives us a kind of blueprint for our future relationships. And within this blueprint, we have important beliefs that we've developed about ourselves and about others through those interactions and the relationship that we built with our parents. In psychology, this blueprint is called our attachment style. And there are 2 broad attachment styles, secure attachment and insecure attachment. So the attachment style you develop is linked to your caregiver's ability to meet those needs that we talked about. So if they did a good job of meeting your needs and they did so consistently, then you probably developed a secure attachment style. But if this was not the case, then you may have developed an insecure attachment style. And so in terms of how this affects your relationships as an adult, people with a secure attachment style tend to have healthier relationships with less major issues. But people with an insecure attachment style can tend to struggle and experience more challenges in their relationships. Now, while this seems unfair and we can't change our upbringing, you can take comfort knowing that your attachment style is not fixed. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this later when I talk about, or when I answer the question of, can you change your attachment style? Now, I do just want to say here that if you have an insecure attachment style, it doesn't mean that your parents intentionally trying to cause you harm, or that they're bad people, or there's something totally wrong. 60% of the population, or up to 60% should I say, have an insecure attachment style. So it could be that your parents were just doing their very best given their own upbringing and limitations and resources that they had available to them. Right, now that you understand the basics, I want to delve even deeper and talk to you about your unique attachment style and how this can affect the way you show up in your adult relationships. So you may remember earlier that I said there are 2 broad attachment styles. So we had secure attachment and insecure attachment. Now, these can be broken down even further. So you have secure attachment, but then on the insecure attachment style, there's actually 3 distinct insecure attachment styles. These are fearful-avoidant, fearful-dismissive, and anxious-preoccupied. So I'm going to go through each of the 4 attachment styles and tell you a little bit more about how they develop and what they look like, so that this can help you identify your attachment style and the common challenges that you may experience in your relationships. So let's start with secure attachment. So if you have a secure attachment style, then your parents were very present for you growing up, both emotionally and physically. So they did a good job of meeting your needs and doing that consistently. As an adult, you have a positive self-image and you generally believe that people are good and that they have good intentions. Your relationships tend to be healthy with few major issues. And this is largely because you're able to communicate your needs and emotions effectively in a relationship, as well as create a space for your partner or the other person to do this as well. You desire closeness in your relationships, but you're equally comfortable with and seek independence. So if you have what's called a fearful-avoidant attachment style, then this may have developed if your parents met your needs inconsistently as a child. So it may have been difficult for you to predict whether your parents would be there for you or not. And in your adult relationships, you may crave this emotional closeness, but at the same time fear it. So while you may want to get close to others, you fear that if you get too close and you become too vulnerable, that you will be rejected or abandoned. You have a negative view of yourself and of others. You may believe that you're unworthy of love and that others will let you down. So what this can look like in your relationships is that once you start getting close to someone, like too close for your own comfort, then you will abruptly pull away. And you do this as a kind of self-protection mechanism. Right, now let's talk about the dismissive-avoidant attachment style. So if you have this attachment style, then your parents probably were emotionally distant or dismissive of your feelings as a child. And because of this, you may downplay the significance of relationships in your life. You probably have a positive view of yourself, but a negative view of others. So you may prioritize independence and self-sufficiency over emotional connection. It can be hard for you in relationships to express how you feel, and you may come across as emotionally distant or have a hard time committing to relationships. And so your real challenge in relationships is around building that emotional intimacy and prioritizing your relationships. Okay, now finally let's talk about the anxious-preoccupied attachment style. So this attachment style can develop if your parents were inconsistent in the way they showed up for you as a child. So what can happen with this is that you can become very sensitive to your parents' reactions and actions, and the same pattern can repeat in adulthood in those relationships. So you tend to have a positive view of others and a negative view of yourself. And what can happen with this is that you place a lot of your worth on the relationship, and you can become overly dependent on it and really put your partner or the other person on a pedestal. And you crave that emotional closeness from them, that validation and reassurance from them, And this can lead to behaviors like reassurance seeking and becoming clingy, jealous, or possessive in relationships. And the fear underlying this is that you will be rejected or abandoned. So you're constantly seeking reassurance that your partner or the other person loves you. So those are your 4 attachment styles. Hopefully this has given you a clearer idea of what attachment styles are, what they look like, especially in your adult relationships, and how they even develop in the first place. And if you're still unsure about your attachment style, you can take our free attachment style quiz, which I've linked in the description below. You can also share what you believe your attachment style to be. I would love to hear about that, so you can also leave a comment below for me. And if you have any other questions, feel free to post them in the comments or drop me an email and I'll reply to you as soon as I can. Now, let's answer that final question. Can you change your attachment style? The short answer is yes. You absolutely can change your attachment style and move from a more insecure to secure attachment style. It does take some conscious efforts, a commitment to making the changes and working on yourself and your relationships, and also the right support. So you can go through this process of becoming more self-aware and breaking down those old beliefs, trying out new behaviors, and really building those healthy relationships that you desire in your life. If this is something that you would like to do and you have some questions, feel free to drop me an email, or you can also use the link in the description to book a free discovery call with me. Thanks for watching, and remember to like this video and subscribe for more content on relationships and personal growth.